There was a time when Alaska was thought of as a land of ice, with little value in global geopolitics. But today the world is only beginning to understand just how strategically important this region is to the global economy. Alaska's largest city, Anchorage, is poised to become the most strategic location on Earth. Today, 90% of consumer goods in Alaska come through Anchorage Port, and 4 million tons of material move through it every year. But in the years ahead, trade volume is expected to grow many times over. It is ideally positioned just 9.5 hours away from 90% of the global industrialized regions. As Arctic ice melts, it will open up new sea lanes between America, Europe, and East Asia. Anchorage's central location would therefore make it a vital link in the soon-to-be busiest trade routes. But the question arises, how did Anchorage become the trade hub of Alaska? How will its growing importance in world trade shape up the city? And what would be the greater geopolitical implications? But before we proceed, here is a bit of background. Alaska was purchased by the United States in 1867 from Russia for a meager $7.8 million. Adjusted for inflation, that is $129 million in today's dollars. It was sold so cheaply because it was seen as a liability by the Russian, an icy wasteland with little or no worth. Little did they know at the time that Alaska would become the world's cargo hub. Today, Anchorage transits freight between Asia and North America with more than 8,000 cargo flights passing through it every month. As strange as it sounds, the remote Alaskan territory is central to the global cargo route and preferred by industrialized nations. The common maps, also known as the flat maps of the Earth, do not depict the globe as it is. According to those maps, Alaska is at the extreme end of the Western world. But that isn't the case. The curvature of the Earth allows Alaska to claim a sweet spot in the Arctic, which makes it attractive for cargo flights to make a stopover at Anchorage's airport. Without Anchorage, these flights would have to lessen their load to retain more fuel. Anchorage's geographical position allows these flights to refuel in time without compromising on the cargo load. Due to the facility, Anchorage currently boasts the world's fourth busiest airport. However, Anchorage is only beginning to show off its importance. While Anchorage is popular for air traffic, 90% of global trade is still carried out via sea. The English Channel is the world's most popular shipping route, with 500 vessels passing through it every day into Europe and back. It boasts 170 ports that ensure a smooth flow of sea trade. The title for the second most popular route is claimed by the Straits of Malacca, where 40 ports allow for more than 30% of global shipping activity. The third is the Hormuz Strait, which links the Gulf of Oman with the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea, and is responsible for a major chunk of the world's energy shipments. The fourth one is the Suez Canal. The man-made canal is the longest in the world and cuts the distance between Europe and Asia, allowing trade to take place efficiently without going around South Africa's Cape of Good Hope. The fifth one is the Panama Canal, which facilitates shipping activity globally by connecting 2,000 ports in 170 countries. These waterways are important for global trade, and any disruption in their route can easily bring the supply chain to a halt and have devastating economic consequences. But the winds of change are blowing up north. The Northern Sea Route and Northwestern Passage are poised to become possible avenues for future trade in the Arctic. However, these routes come with their own set of challenges, including geopolitical contests. For example, Russia claims the Northern Sea Route. The vessels that pass through the region need to obtain permission from Russia. They also need to pay a fee to Russia to access this channel. On the other hand, Northwestern Passage is claimed by Canada, which asserts its sovereignty over the route. The US refutes both claims and asserts that both of these Arctic sea routes lie in international territory. The region currently lacks adequate infrastructure for global trade, but countries that lay claim to territories within the region are investing in it. The truth of it is the changing climate is melting Arctic ice, which is making the Arctic route more feasible for vessels. The clearing of ice is providing sea vessels with a clear route to carry out trade activities smoothly. Anchorage, which stands at the corner of both the Northern Sea Route and Northwestern Passage, can play a critical role in international trade through both of these routes. On one hand, Anchorage can be a good spot for refueling, considering that it stands at a pivotal point on both the Northern Sea Route and Northwestern Passage. On the other hand, it can help divide the cargo into smaller ships to move to their respective destinations. This can be a cheaper alternative. Additionally, it can also provide maintenance facilities to vessels moving through these sea routes. According to estimates, the Arctic route is 30 to 50% shorter than the sea routes offered by the Suez and Panama canals. So it is only natural for the world to prefer shorter routes as they are cost effective and cut freight time. As the Arctic clears up and presents new opportunities, Anchorage is definitely poised to reap the benefits. Researchers anticipate that various parts of the Arctic will be free of ice by 2035. Positioned at a key spot on both Arctic routes, Anchorage has the right set of facilities for both cargo flights and shipping activities. The Port of Alaska is well positioned to handle the bulk of shipping activity as traffic grows on the Arctic routes. The deep sea port has all the facilities to cater to vessels. Moreover, to prepare for increased trade, the Port of Alaska is currently undergoing expansion to accommodate for more ships at one time. The Port of Alaska is also well connected to maritime, road and rail routes for further freight services. As shipping activity increases in the Arctic, Anchorage is set to become a prime hub for maritime trade. This, in turn, will allow Anchorage to generate more economic activity, including jobs in logistics and related industries. Once Anchorage becomes a major trade hub, it will also contribute towards tourism. The city offers itself as a gateway to various tourism opportunities, including sites such as the Northern Lights, an untouched wilderness, and some of the most beautiful natural landscapes in the country. There is another dimension to economic advantages in the region. The Arctic has untapped natural resources, including minerals and fossil fuels. The melting ice can grant access to these oil and gas reserves, which, until now, have remained largely untouched. However, the absence of an international treaty restricting infrastructure development means that all stakeholders in the region will try to claim their price as soon as possible. This also paves the way for conflict in the Arctic. In light of this, it is no surprise that both Russia and the United States have been building up their militaries in the region. Today, the Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the rest of the world. This, along with the invasion of Ukraine, has created a sense of urgency in Washington. The United States want to keep the Russians at bay to keep its influence secure in the region. Therefore, deterrence is perhaps the strategy of choice for the United States, as it wants to balance Russia's military edge in the Arctic. The United States currently operates 4 squadrons of 5th generation stealth fighters, 2 of F-22 Raptor and 2 of F-35 Lightning II. It also recently deployed warships near Alaska after Chinese and Russian ships were seen patrolling the territory recently. Russia, on the other hand, is also reopening old Soviet bases and opening new ones. Russia also operates the Northern Fleet in the Arctic region, which is the country's largest naval fleet. Other stakeholders also maintain a military presence in the region, particularly through patrols. The growing military presence in the region, therefore, underscores the significance of the Arctic. But geopolitics aside, it is also important to talk about ethical considerations. While climate change is opening up possibilities, it is also harming the natural Arctic landscape. The melting ice threatens the Arctic ecosystem, affecting species that are used to living in the said environment. Add to that the growing traffic and human activity also threatens to increase pollution in the region and cause further environmental degradation. Will this be a small price to pay for economic progress, or a blunder that would come to bite us in the future? The father of the United States Air Force, Billy Mitchell, said it well: "Whoever controls Alaska will control the world." It definitely looks like things are moving in that direction. As Alaska becomes the hub of international trade, it is certainly poised to become the most significant geopolitical location across the globe. However, the stakeholders need to ensure that the Arctic is not turned into another global flashpoint, where wars are only a breath away. Care must also be taken to ensure the natural environment and habitat are not destroyed in the name of economic interest. As a children's fable goes, unbridled greed ultimately kills the goose that lays your golden eggs. What are your thoughts about it? Let us know in the comments section. For more such videos and hot topics, stay tuned to our channel, and don't forget to subscribe.